Shalom Israel. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Hwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing His truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And this is going to be a response video to a video that was done by the beloved brother Yawakal. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, brother. You'll forgive me if I'm wrong. But his channel is GMS Watchman, as you see right there. And he did a video called "There's Calls for Mandatory Military Draft for Americans That Will Happen Soon." And a lot will come from these mandatory drafts. Okay, civil unrest, people being on the edge of their seats. Okay, people taking up arms against the government. And the reason why people would take up arms against the government is because a lot of people was waking up to the fact that for generations now, America have not been fighting a war for the peace, safety, and protection of the neighboring cities around the warring countries where America is at war with, or especially people over here on the soils of America. But a lot of people are waking up to the fact that that these wars which are being fought in these foreign countries are wars that are fought on wars of foreign relations, meaning that you're not fighting for a war to protect your people. You're not fighting a war to protect your country. You're not fighting a war to protect the countries around the neighboring countries. You're fighting a war for the bankers, for the so-called elites, for the so-called global elites. Okay? And there was a saying, I can't remember it off the back of my head, let's just type it in real quick. Quote. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. You see, make money when blood is running in the streets. Okay. So let's type that in and see what comes up here. Then we can go to images, right? Okay. So this was a saying by J.D. Rockefeller. And I wish I could zoom in on this. Okay. Which is why I like going to Bing.com. Okay. Okay. So let's type in quote here. Okay, quote, and then let's type in J.D. Rockefeller, and buy when blood is running in the streets. Okay. And I want the one I found on Google. Okay, the time to buy is when there's blood running in the streets. Okay, a friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship. So this was a saying by, okay, so So this was a quote by Jacob Rothschild, okay? Buy when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. Okay, Baron Rothschild. Okay, he looks barren, empty. And then here we go. Okay, this is the quote by J.D. Rockefeller, right? The way to make money is to buy when blood is running in the streets. And you see, the reason why these so-called elites want a war is because war is profitable. And the main ones who profit, who make the most money from these wars, are people like this, the so-called elites. Okay, the so-called which will be the so-called Rockefellers. At one point, they called themselves the Rothschilds, which goes back to German Rothschild, which means red child. And we all know who the red child is in the Holy Scriptures. So a mandatory draft is coming, and they want all hands on deck. Okay? They want all hands on deck. So we're living in a time where there's going to be a mandatory draft, and if you're able to hold a gun in your hand, and you see a lot of you Southern kingdoms out there talking about you so-called Negroes from the tribe of Judah, you Haitians from the tribe of Levi, and you so-called West Indians from the tribe of Benjamin, you're laughing at the Northern Kingdom because ICE is rounding them up and deporting them. But guess what? Esau is going to draft your black ass into the military. So guess what? There's going to be another ICE scenario where they're going to go from door to door. Okay. You know, at first it's going to be voluntary, but then they're going to be like, fuck it. It's there's too many bodies dropping over there in the Middle East. We're going to have to start drafting people left and right. And it's not going to just be our people that's going to be forcibly drafted into the military. It's going to be mainly our people, because it's going to be the time of Jacob's trouble. And Esau wants you to go over there and be on the front lines to get your arms, your legs blown off, get a bullet put in your head, in your chest, you know, getting hit by IED attacks. Okay? You know, this is what he wants. Because ultimately, there's an agenda. According to the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, okay, they have conspired against our people with one consent. Let's go to the Blue Letter Bible real quick, okay? Okay? Bible, okay? No, you know what? Let's type in the book of Psalms. Psalms 83, verse 1. Because the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, tells you who our enemies are. Keep not silent, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, be not still. Okay, well, when you're still, it means you're doing nothing, right? But the Heavenly Father is always doing something. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Who are the Lord's enemies? Everyone who is an enemy of the Israelites. Talking about the elect on this side. If you're an enemy of the Lord's elect, starting with Yahawashai, the leader of the elect, then you're an enemy of the Most High Yahweh. Okay? For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Okay? Here comes the key point. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Let's look up this word crafty. You know, we always go into these words so you can get a better understanding of what it's talking about here, okay? The Hebrew word there is aram, okay, for crafty. It says to be subtle, be shrewd, crafty, beware, take crafty counsel, be prudent, okay? To be crafty, be subtle, to be crafty, to become shrewd, okay? So to be subtle, and one way they are subtle with their craftiness is when they go to these different meetings, okay, these P51 summit meetings, where every nation under heaven except for the Israelites gather together at one big table, and they basically consult with one another about how to do away with the Israelites, how to kill us all off. This is the counsel that they take, that these nations take amongst themselves. Okay, you know, whether if the Ishmaelites is selling us poison in their corner shops, okay, selling our people potato chips laced with all kind of cancerous ingredients, okay, rather if Elam is selling you particular wines or liquors, some of them are poisonous, and you know it's poisonous because when you drink too much of it, what happens? You know, you start to feel sick. You don't want to eat. You don't want to eat anymore. You know, yeah, you might feel a loss of appetite. You're not supposed to feel like that when you're drinking wine. You know, you're supposed to feel merry. You're supposed to be in a good mood when you're drinking wine. Nah, man. You know, drinking wine can make you feel bitter, man. So you know, some of these wines are laced with all kind of BS. Okay, and then you got the gooks, you know, selling you cat and dog meat at their restaurants, in their shops. You know, you got Ham, you know, sending up the demonic enchantments on our people, putting curses on our people. And then you got Esau over here with his witchcraft, man. His TV, his music. Okay, the chemtrails, the food they sell you in the markets, which is all GMO. Particular food will have almost 1,000 ingredients in it. You know, what are you doing? So you see, they have conspired against our people. Okay? Okay? They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So they intend to draft our people in extremely large bolts, forcibly, through mandatory legislations that you got to go to war. And it's all for the sake of having you die in a war. Just like what King David did to Uriah, okay? When he committed adultery with Uriah's wife, you know, he sent Uriah off to war that he may die in battle. Now, of course, King David is an Israelite, but you see, Esau is a straight up demon on a whole nother level, okay? Esau's a straight up demon on a whole nother level. So he gonna be sending our people off to war by the millions over here in America through a mandate, okay, to die in war. So that's what's coming. You know, that's a part of that. They have said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And the rest of the Israelites who remain over here in America, they're going to have murder bots out here in the streets, killing off our people. They're going to have robot dogs out here. Okay, they're going to have slaughter bots. They're going to have martial law troops out here killing our people. It's going to be civil unrest. It's going to be everybody for themselves. They're going to cut off the food supply. And the only way you're going to get food is through the military. And you know what that means. You're going to have to take a implantable device the size of a grain of rice called the RFID micro C-HIP, which is the mark of the BEAST. So these are the times that are coming. So you see, they want these wars so they can make lots of money. So they can profit off these wars, man. While our people die left and right over there, you know, and that's why, like the brother put, their corpses will not be buried, but will lie there rotting and stinking, and that's in the GNT. So allow me to get that in the KJV, and then I'll get it in the NLT. Isaiah chapter 34, verse 1. Okay. Come near, because this is a prophecy. concerning World War III, okay? It's not talking about the wars that's going on now, because the war that's going on now is Kitty, that's Kitty, not Kitty, but Kitty, this is Kitty war compared to the war that's coming, because World War III is going to be unlike any other war that has ever happened, because in World War III, there's going to be robots over there, machines over there, fighting in these wars, okay? There's going to be drones, jets, lasers being shot, rail guns, Metal Storm 1000s, okay? Which can shoot 1,000 rounds per second. It's going to be all out chaos over there, man. Okay? You're going to have troops over there with cloaking devices where they can turn damn near invisible, killing people. So these are the times that's coming, man. And if the Lord is not with you, you're going to get caught up in this draft. Hey, you're going to get caught up in this draft and you're going to be through out there. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. You see that? So their stink is going to come up out of their carcasses because there's going to be a lot of dead bodies over there in the Middle East. Okay, like the song goes, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the, let the bodies hit the, let the bodies hit the. Yo, there's going to be a lot of dead bodies over there, man. And it's going to be so many dead bodies, it's going to reek of death. It's going to stink of dead corpses over there, man. Okay? So let's read it in the NLT now. Because we're quickly entering those times. Okay? It says, their dead will be left unburied. It says something similar in the GNT, right? And the stench of rotting bodies will fill the land. Because this war is going to be fought with millions of troops. Okay? Now, not every troop is going to die over there in the Middle East, because it tells you in 2nd Esdras 13 that when Yahushua come back, there's going to be troops that's going to try to fight against the Messiah, and he gonna lay their ass low. Okay, he gonna turn their ass into powder. He gonna beat their ass into powder. Okay, the mountains will flow with their blood. See that? Okay. So that's pretty much all I had to say about this video. A mandatory draft is coming. Let me leave off with this scripture right here. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past, or the second terror. You know, yeah, let's go back to the KJV for this. Salah. Okay? Revelation 11 verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, so the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The second woe is talking about World War III. Now, when you go into this word woe, right? Let's just look it up real quick, because there's also Hebrew words for these words in the New Testament as well, which we know the Hebrew word for woe is destruction. Okay. And okay, what do we see right here? We see abaya, but it's really abad. It's really abad yum. Okay, it's abad yum. Okay, and that look like it says awaya, awaya. Yeah, Salakia, that might be awaya, but it's really abal. The Hebrew word for destruct is abal. The Hebrew word for destruction is excuse me. The Hebrew word for destruct is abad, and The Hebrew word for destruction is abad yum, okay, which means destruction, right? Abad yum means destruction, and these wars bring nothing but destruction, man. And the third woe is going to bring the greatest destruction of all time, because World War III, which is the third woe, is going to be fought with nuclear missiles. Because there's going to come a time and point where during World War III, the intercontinental ballistic missiles are going to be shot off. And America and the land of Israel will be the main targets of these nuclear wars. So with that, I'm going to say shalom to the elect. DTA Abad Baba.